Okay, my friends, we are learning a very important section of the Shulchan Aruch today, and that is the laws of a Jew and a non-Jew who are involved in a partnership for the purpose of Shabbos. Now, I do want to point out that what we discuss in this Siman is an actual partnership. That means that the Gentile actually owns, that means that the Gentile actually owns part of the business, up to at least 1/7 of the business,
50-50,
perhaps more, 50-50. That's what we're going to discuss in this Siman. Now, what often people do is something else entirely, where they are really the owner, but they sell it to the goy. They sell Shabbos to the goy. They consider it belonging to the goy, and that goy is really their worker, and they make the profits of Shabbos like it's their salary. One second. That's a whole nother discussion. That's not even discussed in the Siman. We'll discuss it later, and we'll talk about it. Yes? No, now we're not discussing that sale, because that's not discussed in Shulchan Aruch. We'll discuss it later. Now we're discussing where you have a partner. You didn't buy it and you're selling in part of the business. You're buying a business from somebody, or you're creating your own business from scratch, and you have a guy that you're a partner with. That's the discussion in Shulchan Aruch. The whole year, every week, every day. And how to do it in such a way that it should be allowed for the guy to work on Shabbos, and that he should get the profits of Shabbos, and you should get the profits of one day of the week. That's the discussion in Shulchan Aruch. I'm sorry? The truth is that in Shulchan Aruch it's not discussed, but it would seem that a business that wants to remain on Yantav, open on Yantav, should follow the same protocol as he's going to say here for Shabbos. Meaning to say, what does he say for Shabbos, as we're going to see? That the very moment you make the partnership, you arrange that the business should be completely owned and run by the goy on Shabbos, and completely owned and run by the Jew on one other day of the week, a corresponding day of the week. Let's say Friday, Sunday, Monday, whatever it is. And that way, Shabbos is the goys, so Sundays is the Jews. All the income of Shabbos belongs to the goy. The income of one day of the week belongs to the Jew. The rest you divide equally. That's the principle behind it, although there are many details. Sometimes you can do slightly differently. We're going to see. But one second. But it would seem that a business that wants to remain open on Yom Tov should follow the same thing. In other words, let's say there are, 10 days of Yom Tov a year, Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, Pesach, and 11 days. 11 days of Yom Tov. If you count Chol HaMoed, so it's 17, whatever. No, I counted everything. I counted all the dues. So whatever it is. So it would seem that the way to do it would be to say from the beginning of the year that Shabbos and every day of Yom Tov belongs to the Jew, belongs to the non-Jew, and every Friday belongs to the Jew, and 11 corresponding days to Yom Tov, or 17, whatever, belong to the Jew corresponding to those. That's what it would seem, although it doesn't discuss Yom Tov explicitly. I haven't seen it.
What about if the Jew owns 90% and the goy owns 10%? Period.
I mean, it's not a problem for the business to be open on Shabbos, because you'll say that the goy will get to run it and own it on Shabbos. The problem is that he gets to keep all of that profit. So he's going to end up with a profit that's bigger than 10%.
10% for all the year?
No, because then the Jew is sharing with his portion on Shabbos.
On Shabbos. No, this is not good.
Once the Jew shares this portion on Shabbos, that means that the business belongs to the Jew on Shabbos as well, and that means that the Gentile is working for him. That's the problem.
He's working for the business. Sometimes
Right,
business on a regular day is losing profit. So the goy is
he's
bringing
working for the
back.
business, but he's also working for the Jew. Because normally, the Jew and the Gentile work in the business together. Now, the Gentile's only working. So he's doing his portion, plus he's working instead of the Jew.
Let's say the goy, he said, you know what, I have my holidays, you have my holidays, I work on my holidays, and your holidays, and you work for my holidays, and it's done. Now all the money is staying in the pocket.
No.
No, it's not good.
No. If the Jew gets part of the profits of Shabbos, so even though the goy also gets part of the profits of Shabbos, it's considered like the goy is working for the Jew. Even though the goy is also benefiting from it, but because the Jew is also benefiting and he's not working, so it's like the Gentiles working for him.
Now. The material. The goy sell the material. Now the Jew need to buy the material.
So the same thing happens any day of the week. What does that mean? Any day of the week, you sell, you buy.
I think that the story will be bankrupt after a while, because the Jew will take on his days, he is going to take on his day the money, and the kuppah is empty.
Balances out.
It balances out. It more or less balances out.
Where's the material?
The Jew takes an extra day.
It more or less balances it out.
The
More or less
store
balances
needs
out.
to support itself. Where they buy the material, not take it from your pocket. So
They don't have to worry about that, because whatever they spend on Shabbos and whatever they get on Shabbos, the same is going to happen the day that the Jew is spending, and the Monday is going to be the same story.
I thought if I have this box, I have 10 cookies, right? 10 cookies. I sell 2 cookies every day. Now, if the one for Shabbat, the goy sell it and he take it, he missing from this box 2 cookies. So I need to buy next time 10 cookies.
Okay, and on Monday the Jew's going to sell, and you're also going to have to buy.
Okay.
So
but then he's missing 4 cookies.
Okay.
Then
so
we need
deal.
to take money from the pocket to pay for that 4 cookies.
So what? It's a big deal. Every Shabbat, the Jew is the guy is gonna get all the profits, and every Monday, let's say, the Jew is gonna get all the profits. So if you want to really get technical, you can also figure out the expenses of Shabbat and deduct that from the profits of Shabbat, and figure out the expense of Monday and deduct it from the expense of Monday.
What do you mean by that?
Sorry?
Let's say he make $100. It's $80 is for the material.
So then
you take the $80, put it in a store.
Exactly, and give it to the guy. If the price,
the guy give it to the store to buy the material, and he take the 20.
He keeps the profit. He keeps the profit of Shabbos.
Only the profit.
He doesn't have to keep the gross. He keeps the net.
So it makes sense because the material.
In this case, he take one day.
Yeah.
The Jew actually, that's kind of enough on it. Because he gained something during the week. Maybe he's got this now. Because if you don't want to enjoy the Shabbat, the money come on Shabbos, just don't enjoy it. That's it.
What is it? What's your question? I'm the same question.
You give him one day, and you take him one day from the middle of the week.
So therefore, what's your question?
Just to preventing yourself from losing. But anyway, you have enough of it. You have like indirect enough for money that came on Shabbos.
No.
No. Like this, you declare like you don't have any income from Shabbos.
No, the answer is that's why I said when they buy the business, they say in the first place that Shabbos belongs to the goy. It doesn't belong to the Jew. If the business belongs to the Jew and the goy is working with it on Shabbos, so then the Jew is benefiting from that fact that the goy is working in his business on Shabbos, because that is what is enabling him to make the money on Monday, for example. But if the business is not shayach to him, it's not shayach to him. It's not shayach to him. It belongs to the goy. Shabbos belongs to the goy. You can't say the Jew is benefiting from Shabbos. It doesn't belong to him. When he went into the partnership, he said, listen here, Shabbos, it's going to be yours. Monday, it's going to be mine. Does he benefit from Shabbos? He benefits from the goy that has a business on Shabbos, but it's not his. You understand? If it's a factory that belongs to him and he lets the goy run it, and the goy gets the profits, and therefore he gets the profit on Monday, so then the Alter Rebbe is going to say that's a problem, because he's benefiting from the work of the goy on Shabbos with his business by getting Monday. Monday is a benefit from Shabbos. But if it's something that doesn't belong to him, so Shabbos is not his. So what do you mean he's benefiting from Shabbos? It's not his.
What if, let's say, they didn't have, like, you take the whole income of the week, 7 days a week, okay? You divide it by 7, and you give him the one of 7, you give it to the...
We'll discuss that. We'll discuss that option.
And like this, you don't have any...
We'll discuss that option, but it presents a financial loss for the Jew. In some cases, you may have to do that.
So,
Yes.
I have another idea.
Nice.
Amen. Now, let's say the Jew, he own the business, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He tell the guy, whatever you sell on Shabbat, it's belong to you. Okay? Cannot be like that.
No.
I mean, it's belong to you, the profit. So you will not enjoy the profit.
If the Jew owns the business,
Yes,
and he lets the goy run it on Shabbos and keep the profit,
take the profit. I mean,
and the goy runs it and takes the profit. So basically, the goy is being a kablan. He's basically working and getting his own money.
Yes.
But if the Jew owns it, that's a problem of Marasain.
It's only Marat times.
Can you
But if it's the goy work every Shabbat, and we know it's every Shabbat the goy is working, and like all the year, like we said.
If the Jew owns it, it's Marasain.
Okay, so
The goy has to own it.
on Shabbat.
So how do you differentiate from the people that are doing the Mars Ein? How would I know that this person has a partnership or not? I know this company's...
Because generally partnerships are known, so the Chachamim did not make a Gzeira of Maras Ayin in a partnership. Usually when there's partners, people know.
You have to have a shtar when it comes to like a whole...
Of course, partners always have a shtar. What's the question? I'm talking about real partners. I'm not talking about trick partners.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the manager being a partner and the maitre d' and the waiter and all that shtick. That's shtick. I'm talking about a real partner. Of course you have a shtar. You make a partnership with a guy without a shtar, he'll take you to the park. Sorry.
You have to actually sell it, you can rent it.
We're going to learn about that.
If it's one thing, when you have to sell the electric, but it will come to the beginning.
That's a good question.
Rent it?
To rent it. In other words, let's say you have a business. The guy is going to run it on Shabbos, but the actual physical space of the business belongs to the Jew, which we're going to see is a problem because then you're benefiting from Shabbos by taking Monday. So you're saying, what if you rent it to him? He's going to own the business, but to rent the property, is that what you mean?
Rent the whole thing. Place.
How do you rent the business? I don't know what that means, rent the business. I understand you can rent the property. What do you mean you rent the business? I have a business, I buy and I sell. How do I rent that? I mean, that's
Material.
something's funny about that.
It's a food, material, clothing, you know.
You rent it at fixed price and whatever. I don't know.
Would you fall under the same category as renting a car? Like, no?
Your Kvodo just mentioned a very good...
One second. If you, let's say you sell him the business for Shabbos. I'm going to sell you the business. You're going to own it for Shabbos. So the problem with that is that the money that he gives you is Schar Shabbos. Although I'm not sure about that actually. If he owns it completely. I don't know if it is Schar Shabbos. Sell the
Where's the
business
money?
completely.
Isn't it like a timeshare? Isn't it like a timeshare if you're selling it kind of like for that day? He owns it for that day.
Rabbi, another point.
Oh, a timeshare you own outright.
Rabbi, another point. If the Jew doesn't...
Honestly, the only issue I have with selling it for Shabbos, the only issue that I can think of, I don't think it's Char Shabbos because it's belonged to him. You're selling it to him before Shabbos. That's his. It's like we said before. If you sell merchandise before it arrives, it's arriving on Shabbos. We sell it before it arrives. It's never yours. So the Shabbos is never yours. The only issue I can think of is Marasayin, because we're going to see that if you are presently in a partnership with a goy and you didn't make the partnership properly, according to the Torah, you have to dissolve the partnership and rebuy the business from whoever you bought it from in the right way. Because just to rearrange a partnership is Marasayin. Basically, it doesn't look serious. It looks like a joke. Yeah, this partnership, that partnership, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. If you nullify the partnership, you start from new, the right way, so that's serious. So that's my only issue that I'm thinking of. If you sell the business instead of remaking like a new establishment, I'm thinking it looks like Marasayin. That's my only issue that I can think of. But I'm not sure. Let's see. Let's learn it inside, and we'll see if we can find any other issues. All right, Rabbi Isa, here goes. We're going to start with the Mechaber. A Jew and a Gentile. No, Mechaber.
Zayin.
Aleph. Ken? Reish Memei. Yisro and Yehudi sheyesh lehem soda, o itanu emerchot zerachayim shamayim b'shutros. A Jew and a Gentile who have a field, an oven, a bathhouse, a watermill, as shupshim. Now, each of these have their own unique issues, as we're going to see. Or they are partners with schoira in a store, a shop where they sell anything where they sell stuff. If they made a condition when they came to make the partnership that the Schar Shabbos is going to belong to the non-Jew completely.
What is it, imeat? What does it mean?
Imeat, im harbe, lo meshana im ze harbe, o im ze ma'at. Ma shenichnas b'Shabbat shayach legoy.
Okay.
Lo meshana im ze ma'at, o im ze
I thought
harbe.
the Jew is taking meat.
No. שיהיה Schar Shabbat אינו יהודי לבדו, בין מעט בין הרבה, כמו שכתוב בין מעט בין הרבה. ושכר יהיה מאחד כנגד יום השבס ישראל לבד. Now, to make up for that, you have an arrangement that the income of one other day during the week belongs to the Jew alone. Mutter, that's allowed. If they did not make a condition. When they come to divide, obviously the Jew didn't work on Shabbos. The Gentile did. What do you do? The Goy takes all the income from Shabbos. What does it mean, all the income from Shabbos? When it comes to a store, simple, whatever income came on Shabbos. When it comes to a Rechaim Shamayim, a watermill, when it comes to all these things. When it comes to a field, there's no income of Shabbos that's separate because you worked every day of the year and then you sold it all in one day. You know what I'm saying? That's the way it works with the field. But basically, Shabbos represents 1/7 of the income in that case.
What about Goy Zorea on Shabbat?
I understand. Kol Hashana.
It's a seed on Shabbat, Rabbi. This is different.
Kol Hashana. He doesn't have the link. What doesn't have the link? Shnia.
Yeah,
Share
is
the
a
permanent
tough
link.
one, Rabbi. Because if the Goy is a put seed on Shabbat, the weekday the Jew is get a profit. You know, it's coming. The apple is coming. Whatever is coming.
I'm not talking about only planting. I'm talking about he did everything on Shabbat. When it was time to plant, he planted. When it was time to plow, he plowed. Whatever. Kol Hashana, הוא עבד בשבת. לאו דווקא זרה. הוא עשה את הכל, מה שצריך.
Shabbat.
On Shabbat. He did Shabbat, and the Jew worked during the week.
And the Jew eat the apple on Monday, Tuesday, Sunday, or whatever,
I'm not talking about eating the apple. I'm talking about sharing the profits. I'm talking about taking the revachim of Shabbat.
התפוחים זה רווחים שבת, from Shabbat, he played that, Rabbi.
כן, אבל אני לא מדבר על תפוח בנפרד. אני מדבר על כל העסק. אחרי שנה הם עבדו ביחד, שבת הוא עבד לבד, ואתה מרוויח. מה אתה עושה מהרווחים? זה השאלה.
This one is a tricky one, because here I think you benefit from the fruit after the...
בוא נראה.
Okay.
כשעבר לך לא יקנגד לעני יהודי שכר שבוס את כולם, והשאר אכל כמויסי. When they come to divide, so the non-Jew takes the schar of Shabbos only, and the rest is divided equally. You cannot take one day of the week, like in the previous case, where they made the condition lachatchila. Can't do it. No.
They forgot to do it, and then
No. We're going to see later. They have to dissolve the shutvas and make a new shutvas. Give it back to the guy they got it from, whoever they bought the business from, or give it to a third party, whatever it is. Buy it back with that arrangement, a new arrangement.
They plan the selling it, buying it, meaning I'm going to sell this to you for business worth $2 million. I'm going to sell it to you for $1,000. You're going to sell
that's
back to
a
me.
third party, right? A third party.
Oh, right.
It's
The question is the money.
like a straw man transaction.
Does it
Right.
have to be a real transaction, or can it be like?
It is a real transaction.
Just start,
No, I mean,
or
is that
only start.
a business worth $2 million, can I sell? For example, I'm not interested in selling my business to someone for
That's like
$2 million
Cummings.
and.
But
or
that's
whatever.
like Cummings.
Does that have to be monetary? Do you do the kinyan?
Right, because Cummings.
I think this
To sell it, you can dissolve the partnership formally. So each party gets a part, and then you.
I'm saying it's not.
No, you can't do that. You have to sell it.
Formally dissolve the partnership.
I don't know.
You give each
But
of
you
the
have to
partners.
divest, you have to divest ownership. And then.
No, I'm wondering, maybe Emmanuel's idea is a good idea.
like a start.
If you dissolve it, what does that mean? That means that each person gets their portion. And then you become a new partnership from that. In other words,
But you
no,
just said that-
what I said you cannot do is you cannot go from
Existing
being
contract.
exactly, can't modify. In other words, right now we're partners equally every day of the week. And now we're going to say, listen, let's swap Shabbos will become yours and Sunday will become mine. That it says clearly is not allowed. What it says is allowed is to sell it back and buy it back. Emmanuel's suggesting a third option, dissolve it. Everybody gets the capital, right? Whatever money is in the bank, 50-50, 50% of all the money, of all the equipment, the real estate. Now we'll make a new partnership. Is that different than selling it back? That's your question, basically.
It's okay.
Sector?
Okay. Because they're not partners anymore. They divided. Good point.
Oh. He says something here. Okay, here it is. V'im nishtatvus b'chanus, v'lo yihisnu, yachsu kol echad v'yitel chelko v'yilvat lo shutru. So example, nishtatvu v'yas mitchila, yeah. The Machaber says that in Gimel. Yilvat lo hashituf, v'yimchlu ze lazeh. V'achar kach yachsu l'shtatvu v'yas mitchila. Yeah, that's an option too. Dissolve it and then reestablish it. You can't amend the terms, but you can dissolve it and reestablish it. Okay.
I don't mean to get nitpicky, I'm just asking, what is
Yeah.
what does that have to, how is that, what's what needs to be done? That means that there's a contract that
Dissolve it?
or that all this can be just verbal?
No.
What needs to-
I mean, it has to be a real thing.
No, I'm not saying it's not real, but first of all, obviously this is not real. they're planning on going back together. It's like a divorce, l'shem marriage. I don't know. I understand the drill, but the whole point of me, I'm not gonna tell my business partner, I'm so sorry, I have to take a 50-50 with you. We're done with this part. We're done.
No,
with
you
this.
tell them clearly. For religious reasons, I have to have an agreement with you in which you own the business on Shabbos. And to be able to do that, we're going to dissolve the partnership and reestablish it under those terms. What's wrong with that?
No, thank you. Okay, whatever. It's real, it's real.
But how's that different than covenants?
Because it says, come and take it. For 7 days, it actually is.
I understand that, but
If
the
you can't
valuation
stop it,
That's
is.
what I'm saying. The same thing here. It has to be dissolved in a way that's real. That's an actual
No, so
dissolution.
that's not what I was asking. I was simply asking, does it have to be a contract? Does it have to
It
be-
doesn't say that it has to be a contract, but it has to be effective.
All the paperwork.
If verbal is effective, it's a legally binding arrangement and with witnesses or whatever. I don't know if it is. I doubt it.
It said no.
All right, there you have it. There you have it. Okay. Let's say the income of Shabbos was not known, either because it can't be known. In the case of a field, there's no way you can quantify the amount of work done on Shabbos compared to Sunday. Or even if you want to talk about schleira and a store or whatever, but they didn't have computers in those days, and they had a cash register. The money comes in, the money goes out. They don't know what came in, what came out. The Jew, the non-Jew gets 1/7, and the rest is 50-50.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
If they agree for Shabbat for Goy and Monday for the Jew, and after 4 months, 6 months, or whatever, they want to change the date, they have to sell again and do it again, all the deal.
What do you mean change the day?
The Jew, you want a Sunday instead Monday.
Oh, Zeni lo yodea. I don't think so. I don't think it makes a difference. Shabbos is the main thing.
Shabbat
Shabbos is the main thing.
and Yom Tov.
Yeah, I'm saying. I don't think you can just arrange to give Shabbos to the non-Jew. That's the main thing that has to be arranged l'chatchila. Once Shabbos belongs to the goy and you want to switch the other day, I don't think it makes a difference.
When you say like the higher days with the high income, I will take against Shabbos. Because even I wanted like, let's say Shabbos is a busy day.
Sunday is a bit
Yeah, for sure.
So
No,
you want
no,
I
to
guess
make
what he's saying, you have to
don't
define
get
the
the
actual
best.
day.
Oh, no.
You have to actually pin a date down.
I think Sunday is a really busy
The whole
day.
point is it has to be Bein Rav, Bein Ma'at. The whole point is that Shabbos has to be completely his. And you can't figure out a way to make up for Shabbos
No,
from...
but it's going to be still one day, but it could be.
Right, but that day is going to be a moving.
Okay, so that means that you're deciding based on the income of Shabbos. So that means the whole thing is a trick.
Rabbi,
That means the whole thing is a trick. That's what it is. You're saying, I'm going to pick the day because I want to see how much money you made from Shabbos, so I want to have the other day. So basically, I want everything to be equal, but I don't want to say it. That's what you're doing.
so it's
No, I
different
think
than
what
I
he's
thought.
saying
Rabbi.
is, at certain times of the year, Tuesday may be that.
No. But I understand exactly what I mean.
The Jew wants to get equal to Shabbos, so he wants to see during the week which is the highest day, and at the end of the week, I'll decide.
What if in any way it's not gonna be, let's say on Shabbat, the person makes $15,000 in the store.
So
In any regular weekday, he's not making more than 10.
Okay, so he could do 2 days. He could do a day and a half.
Oh, you could.
He could do a day and a half, but if that day and a half brings in less than 15, he's stuck with it. If it brings more than 15, the guy is
So
stuck
you
with
can
that.
do more than one day, even though one day is connected to the day? I could say I get Monday and Tuesday, you just get Shabbat. Because usually,
Well, the guy might not agree to 2 days. If he's a 50-50 partnership, he might not agree to 2 days.
no, but let's say 2 days will equal 50.
Yeah.
Usually,
Why not?
So you're
How
designating
about-
a portion, you're not designating an actual day.
this is something
Well,
that
in normal cases, you designate a day, but if you could designate a day and a half. There's no reason why not.
this is something with my you work and Monday you want to change it to Sunday. Before we said okay, now it's not okay.
No, you can't change it every week to whatever you
No,
want.
not every
Because
week.
that means that you really do want a portion of Shabbos. You just don't want to say it. That you can't do.
Emunah is very important. And the day you choose, God will give you because you have Shabbat.
Okay. Beseder.
I believe in that.
Okay. Now here's a very interesting Ramah. יש מתן השכר בדיעבד אפילו לא ישנו וחילקו סתם. Some say, listen carefully, that if the guy agrees without discussion, you don't have to ask him. But when it comes to dividing the income, he says, let's just divide it all equal. I know you couldn't work on your Sabbath. It's not your fault. Let's just divide it all equal. The Ramah says, some say it's okay.
Because the guy comes.
He's like Mochel on his mind.
Oh, so here's the issue. There is a machlokes about what the issue is with taking the schar of Shabbos. Exactly. What's the issue? Some say that by taking the schar of Shabbos, you're showing that he was working for you on Shabbos. The fact is you're partners, and he's doing the work, and you're not. So he's doing what you should be doing, and you're benefiting. So that's called he's your worker. You guys are equal, but on Shabbos, but on Shabbos you're not working, and he is. So he's doing your work.
And you benefit.
He's doing your work.
You have enough from him being in the store.
You have to say no.
Because this is Kiddush.
And Rabbi, what if the partner chef is not in the store? It's a different guy that in the store. That the guy higher instead of him.
That's no problem.
The same thing?
That's no problem. Same thing. So if the issue is that he's considered working for
But you
you,
never direct enough. You just, the guy give you just half of what, the second guy give you half of what the income. But
לא משנה.
the actually higher by the guy.
So what? So what? He's doing what the guy should be doing. And if you say the guy is working for you, then the guy he's working for is also working for you. He's doing the work of the.
Working for the Jew, working for the guy.
I understand, but the guy should be if the guy would be working for you, according to this opinion, because you should be working and he's working in your place, so then the guy he hires is doing what he should be doing. It's the same thing. He's just working in his place. That doesn't make a difference.
So the
point is, one second. If you say that it's an issue of shlichus, that he's like your shaliach, then regardless of whether he said, I'm going to be nice and I'm going to give you Shabbos. Stam, by the way, means that he didn't specify. He just says, I'm going to give you, we're just going to divide it equally. On the other hand, if you say it's a schar Shabbos issue, meaning to say that the goy says, I know that you worked, I worked on Shabbos only. I forgot to give this detail. This is also the answer to your question, actually. You were saying the guy is working for himself because he's a partner. Other guys not showing up to work. That doesn't mean I'm working for him. I'm working for myself. The issue is, I forgot, that the guy didn't work one of the other days of the week. The Jew worked, even though they didn't make the arrangement in the first place, but the fact is the guy is the only one working on Shabbos. So he took off on Sunday, and the Jew stepped in his place and worked alone on Sunday. So that's the question. Because the Jew took his place on Shabbos, on Sunday, so he's doing the work that the guy should be doing on Sunday, and in his place, the guy is doing the work that the Jew should be doing on Shabbos.
That's an issue.
It's a shliach. He's doing what he should be doing. He's replacing it. So one second, let me explain. If they would have made up in the first place that Shabbos is shaykh to the goy and Sunday is shaykh to the Jew, so then nobody's replacing anybody. Everybody has their own domain, and Monday and Friday is shared. But if they didn't make that arrangement, so really the Jew should be working on Shabbos, the goy should be working on Sunday. So basically, if they say befeirush, the goy says, the Jew says, listen, I can't work on Shabbos. I'm not allowed. I'll work on Friday or Sunday or whatever, and you work instead on Shabbos. So that everybody agrees is aser, and you can't benefit from it for sure, because that's mamash shlichus. The question is if they didn't say it, they just did it. So the Machaber holds that because the fact is the Jew worked in the place of the goy, and the goy worked in the place of the Jew, even though they didn't say it, he's considered a shliach, and therefore you can't benefit from that.
Even if you work Sundays, And so, what is the ikris? The ikris, if there's let's say I make a contract with the guy, and there's a contingency that I don't want to work Fridays, and he can work Fridays, and Sunday will be for me. That's an issue. Meaning we're dividing the days, and it so happens that there's a contract of our partnership that I will work on Sundays. He will work on Saturdays. I don't have to say it's Shabbos. On Saturdays.
Whether you use the word Shabbos or Saturday doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't make a difference. Okay. So
what's your question?
The question is if there's anything that was decided before any business has been made, that's still an issue?
No, on the contrary. If you decide it before the business is made, that's the best way to decide it.
But you still shlichus because I know that I'm going to have scar.
No, the pshat in that shlichus is, I don't know if you have to spell it out or not, but the pshat in that shlichus is that basically the business belongs to the goy on Shabbos and it belongs to the Jew on Sunday. So he's not considered a shliach of the Jew because on Shabbos he's the only one.
So you would have to make a contract before even having a partnership with a goy beforehand.
Exactly. Before you become partners, you say Shabbos is going to belong to you and Sunday is going to belong to me.
So then they can split the profit 50-50.
So by a field, they can split it 50-50 because there's no way to figure out the profit of Shabbos separately. But by a business that has income, they're supposed to figure out the income. Shabbos, whatever the computer says, Shabbos goes to the goy, Sunday goes to the Jew.
We said unless
if the goy.
No, not if but the goy going to work on Shabbat and the Jew going to work.
On Sunday.
Instead of showing, I'm going to take the income of one day, you can take the income of Shabbos, you're going to be present on Shabbos, I'm going to be present on Monday. And then we're going to split it 50-50 everything.
No, it's not just about working, it's about who owns the business. A guy has to own the business on Shabbos. That's why he works there on Shabbos.
Okay, he owns the business and he's willing to give half of it also to the Jew. And the Jew, because he owned the store on Monday, and he's willing to give half of it to the guy.
No, sorry, that's a joke.
Doing it in advance.
That's a joke. That's making a joke in advance. Making a joke in advance. It has to be if it's calculable. If it's not calculable like a field, that's fine, because that's normal. What else are you going to do? 50-50 is the only way that makes sense. But if it's calculable, like a store where you could calculate it, and you say, we're not going to calculate it, we're just going to do 50-50, that means that it's not real. That means that really everybody owns everything all the time.
So where is the point when the guy said, you know what?
So here's the thing. We're going to see, the Alter Rebbe says, if the arrangement is that the goy gets Shabbos only, and the Jew gets Sunday only, and they're sitting there with the papers, and they have the printouts, Shabbos, Sunday, calculators, figuring out, the guy says, forget about it, 50-50, then it's okay.
Everything on Shabbos.
What?
It's 50-50 on Shabbos or 50-50?
Everything, no. Monday to Friday is for sure 50-50. The question is about Shabbos and Sunday. Shabbos is supposed to be the goy. Sunday is supposed to be the Jew, exactly. So, but it's too much of a headache. So the guy just says, forget about it. Let's just do 50-50. So then it's okay because, one second, I want to explain. Because he could insist, legally he could insist, but out of his own convenience, he doesn't want to, that's okay. But if they say lachatchila, it's 50-50, then it's a joke. And even afterwards, the Jew can't say 50-50. It has to be the guy. The guy says it, okay, fine.
What does it mean 50-50 on what? The profits?
On the profits. Instead of figuring it out Friday and or Shabbos and Sunday, we're dividing it per day. We'll just make it easier. We'll go.
My question is, what happens if you don't do that? And the guy gets sick and just do Sundays, whatever.
Just do Sundays. What does that mean?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I have whatever. Something comes up and nothing has been agreed on those certain days and whatnot. Can you work Sundays and get paid as Sunday like that, or I don't know if I was clear enough.
No, not clear.
Meaning, if let's say Shabbos is for him, for the guy, and so happens that you both work Sundays in the store or whatever.
Yep.
And is there an issue on that because you're working, you're getting profit as well? On Sundays? Or so the guy cannot come Sundays and you're just there?
On Sunday you can work.
It's not about working, it's about profits. though.
Profits, exactly. So you're gonna work for free? I mean,
No, here's the thing. If the Jew and the Goy work only on, see, the case where it's problematic is where the Jew worked on Sunday only. Goy didn't work. And the Goy worked on Shabbos only, obviously. So then it looks like he's a shliach. If, let's say, the Jew and the Goy both worked Sunday to Friday, they both worked. And on Shabbos, only the Goy worked. So now there is no question of shlichus. Why? The Goy didn't work. The Goy didn't work for the Jew. He wants to make a profit. He wants to make his 50%. He knows the Jew can't come to work. What's he going to do? Close the business? He wants to make his 50%. So he goes to work. He makes the 50%. So he wasn't a shliach. The only way it would be forbidden to take that money is if you calculate it as Shabbos profits, then it's a Schar Shabbos issue, as we're going to see. We'll get to it soon, more detailed. But if he just says, let's just split 50-50, and no mention is given to Shabbos separately, then it's okay, actually.
Because the Goy,
Because the Goy did it for himself.
you can guide him to that?
Yeah.
Can I
I don't
guide
know.
him to that? Like,
I don't
not
know.
even being specific?
I don't know. Let's see. We're going to discuss these cases. Okay. So this is what the Ramah here means. The Ramah is talking about a case where the Goy did work on Shabbos only. The Jew did the work on one day of the week correspondingly, but he didn't ask him to do it. So some say it's a machlokes in the Gemara, actually. Mishnah Berurah brings down it's machlokes in the Gemara, and it's machlokes in the Rishonim how to paskin in the Gemara. Some say the Jew didn't ask him to work, so therefore he's not considered his shaliach. The only issue is Schar Shabbos. And therefore, if you don't specifically say, you take Shabbos and I'll take another day, you didn't say it, you just divided 50-50 without saying it, so that's basically the Schar Shabbos becomes mixed in with everything else, and it's okay. That's the opinion of the Rosh.
Very well, all these discussions that we discussed about this shutfut, it's only when it's only the Jew and the Goy, there's no other people involved, no worker, no nothing, just only him. And the
I mean, there could be workers. We're not discussing them, but there could be workers. Why not?
So who paid them the salary?
They're part of the expenses.
Which one?
They're part of the expenses. Just like Yoram was asking, who pays for the inventory? So in theory, you deduct that from the profits. You deduct the expenses from the profits. So in theory, you deduct the expenses of the salaries of the workers from the profits of Shabbos and the profits of Sunday, and you figure it all out. If you have a good computer program, it shouldn't be difficult. So, Venir Li, the Ramah says, the behefsid gadol yesh lismach alayhu. In a case of a great financial loss, you can rely on this opinion. Meaning to say again, you had a situation of shutfus, you didn't arrange it beforehand, the Goy worked on Shabbos, you worked on Sunday, comes time to divide the profits, on his own, he kindly says, let's go 50-50. Great financial loss, you can rely on it. Not great financial loss, go back to the Machaber's Psak, give him 1/7 and divide the rest 50-50.
You sell diamond. Each diamond is very expensive. It's a lot of lost.
Okay, I hear you. Okay. And some say, all of this, we're in Sif Aleph in the Rambam. All of this is only talking in a shutfus, that everybody is working on their day. If during the week they're all working together, and on Shabbos the non-Jew is working alone, You're allowed to divide the income equally. This is what I was saying before. The Gentile is working on his own. Because the Jew doesn't have to work. He's a boss. The boss doesn't have to come in. He chooses not to come in. He doesn't come in. The guy is choosing to come in because he wants to make the money. The only thing in that case is, again, when the Jew is not working corresponding to the Shabbos, right? So the guy is not considered his shaliach in that case. The only thing is you cannot say, okay, you're taking Shabbos, I'm taking Sunday. Because then your Sunday becomes Char Shabbos. This is interesting. Your Sunday's income becomes Char Shabbos because you swap Shabbos for Sunday. The Shabbos really belongs to you because you never divided it. But he worked, so you're going to say, you take Shabbos, I'll take Sunday. So you're getting even though you're not taking Shabbos' schar directly, you're taking a corresponding day instead of it. That's called Char Shabbos. Only if you don't say. If the guy says, let's just go 50-50. I feel bad for you, couldn't work on Shabbos, it's not your fault. Forget about it. Let's go 50-50. But he doesn't spell out that you'll take Sunday instead of Shabbos.
No, but for Shabbos and Sunday, it's at the beginning of the contract.
If you say in the beginning, then it's not called Char Shabbos because it doesn't belong to you. It was never yours in the first place. It was only the guys.
You say like if you didn't make the condition, you cannot say like Shabbos is yours, Sunday is mine.
Exactly. But let's say you didn't make the condition and you don't say Shabbos is your, Sundays and mine. He just divides it equally. And you didn't work in his place during the week. That means you both worked equally during the week. So there was no shlichus and there's no Char Shabbos either. So then it's allowed.
But you have to make it when they come to divide, not before. Because you mentioned that they come to the calculation and it's too much they said like okay 50-50. Can the guy say it in advance?
The goy can for sure say in advance. The goy can for sure say in advance. Can the Jew say in advance? I don't think so. If the Jew says it in advance, so he's basically telling the goy that he wants him to work on Shabbos.
You didn't want the Jew allowed to say anything, not before, not after.
Yeah. I don't think the Jew will be allowed to say it, but the goy could say it. I don't see why not.
So like it's even so that it knows that it's going to involve, like, you should like say no. No, stay in advance before the Shabbat.
Why should he say no?
Because now he's actually knowing that he's enjoying from the income that will come on Shabbos. If it's 50-50 after the Shabbos, it's one thing. But if you tell him in advance, whatever comes on Shabbos you're going to split, that the Jew shows that, okay, I have a no. So maybe this.
You're allowed to have a no as long as it's not a forbidden no. As long as it's not forbidden, why is it wrong?
Actually, it's Chag Shabbos because you know.
Why is it Chag Shabbos? But you know in advance that it's going to be B'Havla. He can't say, I'm going to give you Shabbos. I'm going to split everything 50-50. You can never mention Shabbos separately. If he says, I'm going to split up with you 50-50 because I'm so nice, he doesn't mention Schar Shabbos separately. Schar Shabbos, you're allowed to get B'Havla. You're allowed to benefit financially from Shabbos as long as it's not separate. As long as it's a mixture with other
no, but okay, we're talking about that on Shabbos is going to say 50-50.
No, I'm not talking about that. No. Not
the income of Shabbos is they go
no,
size 50-50.
No, he can't. No, he can't specify Shabbos. He can't specify Shabbos. We're not talking about him specifying Shabbos. We're talking about him saying everything 50-50. During the week, it's for sure 50-50. They worked 50-50, Sunday to Friday. That's the case. They both worked 50. They're getting 50-50. In order to make it mutter, they say, the goy has to say, I'm going to give everything 50-50.
Or in the middle of the shoot?
Makes no difference. Makes no difference. As long as Shabbos is not mentioned separately, there's no separate Schar Shabbos.
This is the point. If we don't separate the Shabbat, It's okay.
In this case, it's okay.
Now, I have
In this
another
case, it's
question.
okay. When the Jew is not working alone one day of the week.
I have another question.
And I also want to point out the Jew can't tell the goy to open the business on Shabbos, by the way. Again, this is the case where they didn't divide it in advance, right? So really, the business belongs to them every day of the week. The goy on his own went ahead and opened up on Shabbos because he wants to make a profit. The Jew didn't work corresponding to that during the week to make up for his not working on Shabbos. So we consider that the guy is doing it on his own, but you can't tell him to do it.
So
Is you obligated to say that I don't want the business to be open on Shabbos?
No, he's not obligated. He's not the owner. He's
So-
just a
so-
partner.
so-
He has no right to tell his partner not to make money. Partner has a right to make money.
So we correct the
Even if he
issue.
says it, the partner doesn't have to listen. You can take him to the Bezdin.
So Rabbi, we correct the issue of the divided business and make the agreement about the day and then put back the agreement, because then over there we said Shabbat and Rishon.
Yeah, but this is a very unusual case. I just want to clarify. A normal partner might not be happy with this. What do you mean? I'm going to work on Shabbos alone, and you're not going to give me any day off, and I'm going to give you 50-50? What am I, a friar?
Well, of course he will work one day.
I'm just saying, this is an unusual case. This is not something you can expect from an average partner. This is an exception. If it happens, it happens. But it's not usual.
I have a different question about the camera on Shabbat in the store.
Yeah.
You're allowed to benefit on Sunday to see what's going on Shabbat.
That's a complicated one. I don't know. I did some more.
Why? You cannot go and watch the what's happening on Sunday, what's happening on Shabbos at the store.
אני לא יודע.
למה לא?
The מכונה is working on the Shabbat
I don't know. I mean, if you mean your business is open or closed?
If he doesn't trust the boy.
It can be anywhere. He want to check that's what I'm asking the question.
Can the Jew?
No, my question is, I don't know. It belongs to the guy for Shabbos. So whatever the guy does, he does.
I'm asking if the Jew can open the Sunday and look for what's happening on Shabbat.
I don't see why not. I mean, it belongs to the guy, the business, but I'm sure he doesn't mind. Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't mind if you look at his camera. Why not?
Can the Jew tell the goy, I'm not going to work on Shabbos.
Yeah.
I'll work some other day, and you take off when you.
That we said he can, but he has to make the arrangement before. When they get the partnership at the beginning, that has to be the original arrangement of the partnership.
So,
They can't do it afterwards.
Then you have to make sure not to tell him that he has to work Shabbos.
No, not that he has to, but that he can.
Okay.
Shabbos belongs to him. He wants to work. He wants to make money. Let him work. He doesn't want to. He doesn't have to. It's his, completely his. It belongs to him.
You do it perfect from the beginning, a partnership. If you apply this to a kosher restaurant, you go into a partnership where you go, say, okay. kosher restaurant.
Why is it Marasayan? Shutvus does not involve Marasayan. That's what we're saying.
You know what? There's kosher restaurants that are open.
And there are kosher restaurants owned by Goyim. I mean, Goy can own a kosher restaurant. It's one of those Chinese places in NMB belongs to Goy, no? Oh, they got rid of it? Some say they didn't really get busted. Some say they were framed. Some say they were framed. Big machlaikas there. Exactly. Anyway.
I think Shanghai out in Los Angeles is owned by Goy.
And are they
But I think they're closed on Shabbos.
closed on Shabbos? So there's a few problems. I mean, a restaurant has technical problems because
Mexikosher.
the Bishul Yisrael issue. Bishul Yisrael issue. I mean, you could have the fire on the whole Shabbos, but what if it goes out? What do you do? I mean, you're stuck.
There's no patience. No Jew is going to hit it. I mean,
But you can't have a place that goes treif every Shabbos. And I mean, Bishul Akum is treif. The Kalim are treif. You'd have to kasher it again every Friday. I don't know. It's not practical. It's not practical. It's theoretically possible, but not so practical.
So what do they do in the hotels?
So it's like now you're gonna buy it back, and you're gonna be buying dishes from the guy, use them right away. It's not practical.
Why buy it back? A partnership. He's talking about a
He
partnership.
said on
Saying
Shabbos,
the
it's belonging
alcohol.
for him.
Oh, you're saying since the arrangement is on Shabbos belongs to him, you have to tovel it every time?
Yeah.
Interesting shaila.
You don't have to tovel a kelim if there's a shutif, then he's a guy. Usually, for example, like in restaurants
So
in
it's
the
not-
KM,
it's not
you don't tovel a kelim because the shutif is a guy.
Is that a fact?
So that's
If it's owned by a guy, you don't
Yeah,
tovel
owned by a
it.
guy.
If it's a shutuf,
yeah.
I don't know. You know that for a fact?
That was a question that was asked a while back, and the
And the Rabbanim said?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a chiddush to me. I don't remember. Yes, question? No? David is asking, I did some more checking into the issue of business on Amazon. I found some issue of World News. It seems there's some limited opinions and some opinions about the issues. An excerpt from something that says, and the link to the article is on the bottom, is a link to the article because it's a bit long. Okay, I can post it later to the class, but I don't have time to read it now. תודה רבה. Yisrael v'goy shekno kli v'shutvus ein tzarech tefillah. You're right.
Yeah. But if you don't go from the beginning, you go board them, or the Jew board them.
That's another question. That's another question.
It's the board together.
Ein tzarech tefillah. No, he's saying his point is if you make a restaurant that's going to be belong to the goy on Shabbos, and then you'll go back to being a shutuf on Matzah Shabbos, there's no problem with tefillah because you don't have to tell shutuf doesn't have to be told.
Right now, I'm doing Shabbos, you're not shutuf, so it just belongs solo to
I understand, but it doesn't have to be. You don't have to tell it anyway. After Shabbos, you're going back to being a shutuf, right? That's what I said. Bishalaka was a problem, but tefillah is not a problem. Yisrael v'goy shekonu keli v'shutvus ein tzarech tefillah. It's very interesting. Rama.
After you give all the kelim to the goy. So on Shabbos, right now the Jew have no chelek on this kelim. Is mechira gmura.
Absolutely. So what?
So now you basically, now after Shabbos, you're going to use the kelim of the goy.
No, you're going to become a shutuf again, and a shutuf doesn't have to toil.
But now they're not binding together. It's just joining him to the kelim that you already have in his possession.
From him, it's becoming a shutlas. From him owning it alone, it's becoming a shutlas. But that doesn't need tefillah, so what's the problem? There's no issue.
After Shabbos, it's not like
What about on Shabbos? On Shabbos, it was completely his.
I understand. So for sure doesn't need tefillah. What's the issue?
Once you get it back to Shabbos.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah, Lamaisa, because of the Bishal Akum thing, it's going to be problematic. What could be done is only serve on Shabbos pre-cooked food. I know of a place that wanted to do this. I don't know if it ever ended up getting off the ground.
41st. There's like the meal,
They have that
Shabbos meal on
in the restaurant.
41st or something, steak something.
It's in Surfside.
No, it's used to have one on 41st also.
Which one?
No, it's
Kosh?
steak. Not Kosh, next to it. It's steak place owned by the barbecue.
Backyard barbecue. Backyard barbecue. No, but he's not open on Shabbos.
Not open on Shabbos, but
They have meals for
pre-ordered
people who
before.
prepay. That's something else. No, it's no partnership with the guy. No, they have something else that they have. I don't know if they have it. They were going to have it. It was like a food commissary by the pool, which was going to be owned from people, and on Shabbos it was going to be open, and they were going to sell only cold food. They weren't going to cook anything. Everything cooked in advance, pre-packaged. So there's no bishul akum. If you do the right kind of partnership, I don't see why not.
The kind of restaurant, for instance, you're talking about is something that is open on Shabbos, and they charge, people pay their money.
Right, that's something else. But then you don't need a shutaf of a guy. You could have it belong to a Jew. If you do it the right way, it's okay. Okay. Very good. Let's go a little bit further before we go to the Alter Rebbe. Siv Beis. Heicha. Shkoach Moshe for the Chiddush. Chiddush. It's good to know. Heicha Shisnu B'tchila.
Did we finish this whole Sif after the Loka Avid? Did we finish the whole thing?
Yeah, I did. Okay. The Jew is not benefiting because he doesn't have to work on Shabbos. He can only take the Shabbos payment together with the other days. If they made a condition in the first place, this is what I was saying before. If they did make a condition beforehand, and really the goy should be taking Shabbos profits only, and the Jew should be taking Sunday profits only, but in the end, the Nisratze ha'eni Yehudi lachlek b'Shabbat. Wasn't the Jew who came up with the idea. The non-Jew came up with the idea, let's just split 50-50 everything, instead of bothering to do all this accounting work. Mutter, it's allowed. Because it belongs to him. He wants to give you a present. It may not be a present. It may be that it happens to be around 50-50. It may be a present. Okay, that's his choice.
But you see over here say Shabbat Chalukah, not before. Over here it's the Rabbi said like, ואם אחר כך בשעת חלוקה יתרצה הרבה כתוב.
זה מה שאמרנו מקודם.
It doesn't say anything before. אחר חלוקה. So in the
See,
בשעה, לא אחר, בשעה. זה מתי שמתחלקים.
Here's the case that the Machaber is talking about is a case where the Jew, the guy worked on Shabbos, the Jew worked on Sunday. Now, and the business was shayach. They made an arrangement, lechatchila. The business is going to belong to the Jew, to the guy on Shabbos, belong to the Jew on Sunday. If lechatchila, the guy says, you know what, I'm going to give you 50-50, that means that the whole thing is a joke. That's not real. So of course he can't say it. That's no question. In that case, he can't say it beforehand. The case you were asking about, or I thought you were asking about, is where there was no arrangement made, lechatchila. Everybody owns everything, 50-50. But the Jew, and in that case we said the Jew, if the Jew works on Sunday and the guy works on Shabbos, so then it looks like he's working for him. I'm going to take your place, you're going to take my place, it looks like he's working for him. But if the Jew and guy work equal Sunday to Friday, and the guy on his own says, I'll work on Shabbos, why not? Chaval. And he then splits it 50-50 without saying anything, Shabbos, Sunday, just splits it 50-50, then it's mutter. You understand? Because then he didn't work for the Jew, because the Jew didn't work for him, he just worked for himself. and he's nice. He's giving him 50-50. He's giving him Schar Shabbos. Okay, but he's splitting it without saying what's what. That's what the Rambam said. In that case, I don't think it's a problem if he says, I'm going to give you 50-50. Because he's not making a joke out of it because there was no arrangement made. If you make an arrangement and then you make a joke out of it in the first place, then that shows the arrangement is false. Over here, there was no arrangement made. You understand? He's just being nice, and he's telling you in advance, I'm going to be nice. Why not?
And the Jew,
I think.
So this the Mechaber talking about, so they had the agreement before? Or
They
not?
had the agreement before, and then afterwards he says, okay, we'll do 50-50. But if they had the agreement before, and then he says, I'm not going to follow the agreement, that means you're not serious. Yeah.
The Jews say, I'm not going to work on Shabbos, I'm going to work on Sunday. And there's two ways, since we're partners, there's two ways of handling this. And I want you to decide. One way is we do the accounting, how much came in on Shabbos and how much came in on Sunday. One Shabbos belongs to you, Sunday belongs to me, and the rest of the week we split. Or we can just split everything. You decide. If the guy makes the decision, isn't that,
Can you give him that option, is your question? Until now, we didn't say if you can give him the option. We just said, you tell him he can take it all on his own, Shabbos. If he says, you know what, let's do 50-50, you can. You're asking if you're allowed to suggest to him
yes. Well, you
that,
want him to make a decision. He might say, no, I want it separate.
right.
Like it's dark now in the room.
No, the difference is that it's dark now in the room. It doesn't cost the guy anything. Here, it might cost him.
What about public companies, big companies, stock market? You're a partner, you're a shareholder. You're working on Shabbos, you're getting profit. What's up?
I mean, they're not working for you. They're working for themselves.
For the shareholder.
Saying, but you're not a majority shareholder. So they're working for themselves. You're allowed to benefit from it. They're not your shluchim, right? They're not your shluchim. The actual workers in the company, because every company, besides being on paper, hopefully has some people actually doing something. Those people are not considered your workers because you're not their majority shareholders. They're working for majority goyim, right? So they're not.
Are always allowed to, don't require you to be a partner. You can have a partnership. Less than 50. House would still apply.
No. Here's the thing. The case that we're talking about is that the partners are themselves also working. So if they don't make an arrangement beforehand, the day that the Jew doesn't work, the guy is replacing him. You understand? So he's working for his partner.
So you're required to be, well, this is people are actually working day to day.
That's what we're talking about. If you're asking about another case, you're asking, maybe this is what Ronnie was asking before also, I'm not sure. But you're asking, let's say both partners are just putting in the money and they have workers. So can they let the business be open on Shabbos? Let's say it's owned by Jews. The workers are goyim. And the Jew only owns 49%. The goyim own 51%. So let the workers be considered the workers of the goyim because they own the majority.
I have an example like that, Rabbi.
Is that your question?
Rabbi,
Maybe I'm taking it one step further.
Rabbi, I have an Israeli.
I just want to 1 second. In a different Siman in Shulchan Aruch, we do see that you go by the majority, and that is in Siman Reish Mem Ches. We talk about being in ships on Shabbos. They didn't have the whole concept of cruises in those days, where you go on a ship just to be on a ship. Those days they went on a ship because they actually wanted to go from point A to point B. Now we go to point A, we go on a ship, and we come back to point A. So what did you go for? That's a whole other question. But the Maisa in Reish Mem Ches, it talks about going on a ship, and it talks about the fact that if majority of the people on the ship are goyim, then all of the work that's being done on the ship is being done for the goyim. So it's no problem. I mean, they can't do malacha for you in particular, right? But the fact that they're running the ship, the fact that it's going and whatever malacha is around the ship, they're doing it for the majority of the people. Just like if they come into a room and they turn the light on for the people in the room, not for themselves, they're not staying. They look around, oh, you need light, they turn it on. If it's a majority goyim in the room, they're doing it for the goyim. So the same thing with the ship.
Does that fall into the
So one second. So you're asking, or I'm wondering, if you have a majority of the businesses owned by goyim, if maybe you can just be open on Shabbos and say that the workers are considered working for the goyim. I don't know.
Rabbi,
I don't know. It's not the case we're discussing here, but it's an interesting question.
if it's for example, you have you're here. There's people that have manufacturers. They do manufacture clothing, shmartas, anything like that in China.
Yeah.
They're working on Shabbos, manufacturing and producing the product.
Yeah.
Can you get schar from that? Can you?
And they're your workers, or you buy it from them?
It's
Subcontractor.
It's mostly kablanas. It's probably their own equipment also. Probably. Yes.
I know a Jew. He used to live here and moved to Israel. He has a business in downtown. All the worker is a goy. Except one supervise is a Jew. So this store you can open on Shabbat.
The owner is Jewish.
But all the goy, all the store, the people working over there is goy.
The owner is Jewish. They're working for him.
So this is
no good. Not allowed. Okay.
Also that even if you have a guy that work for you the whole week, you have the salesman working the store, okay, the whole week, including Shabbos, right?
Correct. You're asking me? He's saying to me.
1 second. 7 days a week, right?
No, not correct. Go ahead.
1 second. I'll give you all the details, okay? Even so that they have the partner, a guy, okay, but you're paying the worker a salary for the whole week. And from your income, you're paying him also, you're paying the salary for the guy. So how is it working?
Well, you said the business, so the profit and the expenses. So everything that happens.
Yeah, but you're paying a weekly salary.
You're paying and the guy is paying. He's paying a majority. I don't know. I didn't say it's mutter. I said it's something to think about. I don't know. There's a lot I don't know, especially in these halachas.
Are all these rules the same as home white, or is it a different?
It's more or less the same, except that there's more cases in Chol Hamoed that a Jew is himself allowed to work, in which case, of course, he could employ goyim. But in cases that he cannot work, the general guideline is that the goyim can't work for him either. That's a general guideline. Let me see. Let's do Gimel first. Heicha shelo yisnu b'tchila. They did not make a arrangement in advance.
We discussed it already.
Yeah.
Volume got muted. Going to sign off and back in. Okay, fine. Yeah, we did discuss this. Let's just read it inside. If they didn't make a condition before, they could return it to the seller or sell to somebody else, and then buy it again. Make it at that time. Let's say they have a t'nai in a store that didn't make a condition. So basically, it's much more complicated than a field. As a store, you have all the inventory. You're going to return this to Yankel and this to Shmuel and this to Joe. I mean, not shaykh. Exactly. Just nullify the shutas. And then make it in the first place. And Kiblo Karka last was similarly. They accepted the Karka. In other words, they're like Shutvim and as Arisim, they're like sharecroppers. And they said they're accepting it as partners to work on it. Once again, same thing. They can't return the land. The point is, can't return the land because the land doesn't belong to them. They are the partners in sharecropping. So what do? Same thing. Let them nullify their arrangement and forgive it to each other and make a new arrangement. Which is more like Siman Okay, so this is what Emmanuel was asking. If you want to rent your portion on Shabbos to the non-Jew, or to give it to him for a kablanus arrangement, it's allowed, as was explained in Reish Dal concerning a mechas and a matbeya. How much more so here it's mutter in the case of shutfus with a non-Jew. So I think he's saying that what you said would be allowed. He is a partner. He's a partner. The problem.
Your partner is your partner or to someone else?
Your partner.
Your
partner. Yeah. Your partners with him during the week, 50-50. And you say, for a certain fee, I'm renting you the business for Shabbos. All the income is going to be on yours on Shabbos. You're going to give me $100, $1,000, whatever it is, and it's yours for Shabbos. So normally you can't do that because it's a Maras Ayin.
Can you do Gabla, let's say, like from the middle of Friday until like 5 hours after Shabbos? It's going to be like Gabla. Or it's just 24 hours Shabbos, that's it, it's fine.
But here it's among the Rambam Maskono, says the Mishnah Berurah, the Hochai Shemaskal is Chalka b'Shabbos b'Havlo. And Shemaskal kol Shabbos shaloi im shnayim v'shloisha yomim mimei achod. Sud leka kam mishum Shabbos. It's allowed only if you give him Shabbos together with another day at least.
Another day.
Exactly. So it's b'Havlo. Or the kablanus is also that you didn't specify Shabbos. In other words, let's say you're partners.
Waiting for 40 hours from Friday afternoon.
Yeah, exactly. That's one case. The kablanus case is another one where you're partners, but you say on Shabbos, whatever income you make.
Where's the script exactly?
No, this is kablanus. This is kablanus.
But already by script.
No, we can speak about kablanus also. How do you do that? Give me a second.
We're still talking about a partner.
Yeah, we are talking about a partner. If he's not a partner, you have a separate issue of Maras Ayin. That's the thing. With a partner, there is no Maras Ayin. Normally, you cannot have a kablan do work for you on your property. This is your business. But it's also his business. So the minute you make a kablanus arrangement, the kablanus arrangement is that he makes a certain profit and you get a percentage, right? So as long as you don't tell him to do it on Shabbos, that's okay. So that's what it is. Shabbos, if you choose to work on Shabbos, you give me a certain income from that, just because after all the business belongs to me too. As long as it's b'havla together with other times, whenever you want, not only on Shabbos, whenever you want, whenever I can't come into the office, if you work on your own, just give me a percentage of what you make. So then and it's obviously not going to be 50-50 because then it's just a joke because that's the same as they usually get. It's obviously, besides the regular 50-50, now you're going to make 75. Just give me 25% of what you make. And you don't tell him specifically on Shabbos. So that's kablanus, without specifying Shabbos. The only issue is usually Maras Ayin. Because he's a shutaf, there is no Maras Ayin. So that's
All the story at the beginning, we said.
a nice heter.
If we mention to give me, it's not good.
One more time.
If we mention the goy will give to the Jew, it's not good. And ahead of time. Anything we mention to the goy, you work on Shabbat.
No, don't say Shabbat. Whenever you work, because I can't come in, you give me a certain percentage.
Then you benefit from the percentage.
As long as it's not separate, because he's not working only on Shabbos. He's working Shabbos.
Only on the Chalukah, then the goy come to the Jew. You know what? It's too much headache for me. Let's split 50-50. Then it's okay. Now we said if the goy is working and you just give me the 25% from Shabbat.
Exactly, but it's not only Shabbat. It's whenever he chooses. The Maisa, it's probably mostly Shabbat because during the week I'm also working.
So it's asur then,
No, it's not asur.
So he's a chidush.
It is a chiddush. But it is b'havla'ah with other days. Even a small amount. It's not only Shabbat. It's Shabbat plus, say Shabbat, Friday afternoon. Late Friday afternoon, you leave at 3. And if he chooses to stay, the same arrangement, he gives you 25%.
So if the Marat Ayin, the goy is working.
No Marat Ayin, because he's your partner.
Different case, I'm sorry to stop you. If the store going all the years working over there, so it's no Marat Ayin over there.
Well,
and it's
why
in
not?
downtown Miami.
Why not Marat Ayin? Why not?
Because it's in downtown Miami.
So what? I'll go in downtown Miami.
I don't know. I mean,
it's been a while since I've been in downtown Miami, but there were plenty of Jews last time I was there.
Yeah, but
all the lawyers. What do you think?
But on Shabbat, the lawyer is over there. On Shabbat, nobody there.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Jew cannot sell the worker the store all the year for Shabbat?
Selling the worker the store is a much different sort of thing than what we're talking about here, and we will discuss it later. That's what a lot of people like to do nowadays. But that's not what the Shulchan Aruch is discussing. The Shulchan Aruch is discussing a regular partner, not your worker that you're considering your partner, a whole trick.
But they are really, he's an Israel, and for sure they
maybe he got a heter.
To the goys. No?
Maybe he got a heter. It doesn't belong to the goy. They're workers. The workers, it doesn't belong to them. Okay, my friends. Here we go. Siman Reish Mem Hey. Yes. The Alter Rebbe. My friends, I'm telling you now, as far as we get, we're getting. Everything else, you're welcome to learn on your own. It's a very complicated thing with a lot of details, and whatever we get through today, you're going to have the basic principles. I hope you'll get the basic principles, and I don't think we're going to finish the details, but we'll get as far as we can. A Jew and a non-Jew who accepted a field as partnership, that they're both responsible for it. Lamo, lachrish, lizroya, b'shakal avodas. They're going to toil, they're going to plow, they're going to plant, and they're going to do all the different types of works. Hasada. And of course, when it comes time to harvest, they're going to each get a portion of the fruit for their work. The Jew cannot say to the guy, listen here, you work on Shabbos. So when it comes time to divide, you'll get your portion corresponding to the fact that you worked alone on Shabbos. I will work alone on one day of the week, and I will therefore get a portion in the fruit corresponding with my work of that day of the week. Again, this is where it was mutal al shneim. The partnership was originally on both of them. And now the Jew comes along and says, okay, you work on Shabbos, I'll work on Sunday. Even though The goy is going to work on Shabbos for himself because he wants to get that profit at the
Why
end.
you Jews tell a man?
We're going to see in Siman Shin Zayin. A Jew is allowed to tell a goy, go work. You can make so much money. What are you sitting around doing nothing? Work.
How come say that?
You could tell a goy to work for himself on Shabbos. That's
Is
not
your
law.
mouth there?
No, in general. You're passing by a goy and he's sitting and being lazy, and you know that he could be making money. You're allowed to tell him, go, why don't you open up your store? What are you wasting time for? You're allowed to, so why not here? After all, he's making money for himself. No,
You benefited that, Rabbi.
you're not allowed to speak about a Jew working. You're allowed to speak about a goy working.
You're allowed to speak about work?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
About a goy's working, yeah.
To a guy? So
To a
I
guy.
speak about work, is okay?
No, you can't
Speak about a goy's working.
your
You can't speak about a Jew working because that's forbidden. You can speak about a goy working because that's permissible.
I can tell my friend about my story I had with the guy fixing my roof for an hour.
Fixing your roof, I don't know, because that's already, he's working for you. I don't know, that's complicated. I'm not sure about that. But you can talk about the neighbor's roof that the guy fixed. I mean, why not?
But you
neighbor's
charge
a
them
Jew.
$1.
Not correct. Actually, you can talk about the guy who fixed your roof, yes, because that's in the past. You can't talk about work that's going to happen in the future. Talk about things that happened in the past, because that's just stories. I mean, war stories. Can't talk about things that are going to happen in the future. But even so, if it's work that a guy is going to do for himself or for another guy, that's also not. It's speaking about chefzecha, your weekday activities, your choil activities, not about the guy's activities. Okay, so the point is, nevertheless, because really the work of every day is shared between the two of them, half and half. When he tells him to work on Shabbos, and he's going to work correspondingly one day instead, he's telling somebody, do my work for me, and I'll do your work for you. So that's mamish lichas. That's actually forbidden. That's not maras ayin. It's not schar Shabbos. It's actual standard shlichus on Shabbos, and it's absolutely forbidden. Even if he didn't say anything to the goy, but rather, the goy on his own worked on Shabbos, and the Jew went ahead and worked one corresponding day during the week. Bistam. He did it bistam without specifying. That's important, because once you specify, you're in big trouble. Nevertheless, you're not allowed to make a cheshbon with the goy and say, let's split it equally. Every day on Shabbos I did my work, shavarata avodasi kenegde b'choil. Sorry, not reading right. Shekol yom haShabbos she'avarata, every day of Shabbos that you worked, avarati kenegde b'choil, I did work for you during the week corresponding, and therefore let's split 50-50. Why can't you do that? Listen carefully. So it comes out he's revealing that his work on Shabbos was to pay back the goy who worked for him on Shabbos. His work on Sunday was to pay back the goy who worked for him on Shabbos. So that half of Shabbos that the goy is working, it's as if he is doing it for him. It's like it's his. And therefore, when he takes the income from Sunday corresponding to that, that's considered schar Shabbos. I'm giving you that, you give me Sunday. Half of Shabbos is mine, really. I'm giving it to you, you give me Shabbos, Sunday instead. So when you spell that out, that becomes Chal Shabbos, Shaloi B'Havlo.
What if it's 3.5 days, 3.5 days? Then you split 50. Everything but one.
3.5,
Three and a half days. Yeah.
Then the rest you split 50-50?
No,
I understand.
We split the week. The two work from 3.5
No,
days,
I think
and the
that's
girl
it.
work 3.5
It would be
days.
a problem.
50% of the
And
days
then
or
all the
50%
income
of the
split.
profits.
Oh, you split 50% of profit?
Yeah.
Not the days.
But that's not the days.
We split the days, and the income is split 50-50 after.
Okay.
But it may not be 50-50 on the days.
So it's gonna be
No,
something
no.
about law.
One second. So the guy works
3.5 days.
Shabbos, Sunday, Monday, and half of Tuesday.
Yeah.
The Jew works half of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, or whatever, or Sunday, Monday, and 10 years after.
And then you want to split it 50-50.
But it's still Shabbat there.
And you made this arrangement lachatchila,
Yes.
or you made the arrangement lachatchila. Perfect. Why not?
There you,
No problem. There's no schar Shabbos. There's no
And
working
if
for
you split it
anybody.
down in the beginning,
Sorry?
not in the beginning.
If they didn't work in the arrangement at the beginning, then it's a problem.
Well, everything is Shabbos is about the law.
No, but the fact that he's working on Shabbos and I'm working on a different day instead of Shabbos, really, if you don't make the arrangement,
I'm working.
I understand, but if you didn't make the arrangement beforehand, so really you should be working every day, at least half of the work. And instead you're telling him work on
No, we
Shabbos
split
only.
the week.
You're splitting it now, but it was originally, it was shared.
Yeah.
So now you're saying the Shabbos, which I should be working, instead you work and I'll work instead on Wednesday. So that means he's
But
doing
it's
my
not-
work,
but
you're
it's
doing
not
his
that
work.
young can make it young, because of here you have like 3.5
Doesn't make a
days,
difference.
So it can be
Doesn't make a
young.
difference.
So that-
Every day is like that. Friday, Shabbos he's working for you, Wednesday you're working for him. Sunday he's working for you, Thursday you're working for him. You understand what I'm saying? If you make a new shlichus and a new partnership, nobody's working for anybody.
But
but
the work is in law, it's like all, it's not like,
Havla only helps for schar Shabbos. It doesn't help for shlichus. So doesn't help for shlichus. So the fact that you are essentially responsible to work and you're having him work in your place, that's a shlichus problem. So law doesn't help for that.
So Rabbi, the only way to do what Ronnie said is to sell the food and buy it. And buy
Either sell it or nullify it.
Like
nullify
we
it.
mentioned.
Start it again.
how about the Ramaz exception? The boy decides halfway through, you know what, this is too much, it's too complicated, just do 50-50, change the arrangement. The boy decided.
That's only good for the profit sharing. That's not good for the working.
Right.
That's not good for the working.
So if the boy decided he didn't want that arrangement,
Because he wants Sunday to go to the church.
That's good for profit sharing. If the guy, instead of saying let's figure out Sunday, Shabbos, whatever, instead let's just split 50-50, that's okay, because that's just a technicality. I'll give you a gift to make it easier for you.
but what if the boy decides he wants to change dates in that situation? What?
Well, explain.
Coming straight from the boy. You had an arrangement on certain days, the boy says, let's.
Like they want to give the money to.
You have to nullify it and start again, because even if it's coming from the guy, but what it means is the guy is saying, I'll work for you, you work for me. Even if it's his idea, that's still the arrangement. That really we should both be working. Instead,
So
I'll work for you, you work for me.
so how come in the
No matter who
money?
comes up with the idea, it's still the same problem.
So how come when you want to give the money for the sharing for Shabbat, it's okay with that?
Because money is not a shlichus. Money is just money. So if he says, listen, I know if I made if we sat down and worked out mathematically, I would get an extra few $100, but I can't be bothered. My time is worth money. Forget about it. Do it 50-50. It's his money. He wants to give you a gift. Why not?
But can the boy nullify the whole contract on that concept? Let's say you have the designated days and the profits. So the boy said, just scrap the whole thing and just do 50-50. So then you're knocking out the days and you're only going on the profits. But you had days locked in from before.
What do you mean? Like Ronnie said, 3.5 and 3.5? Is that what you mean?
Whatever.
Yeah, it's okay. You could still.
As long as you don't redefine days that you have it. Right?
As long as he doesn't assign work that should go to one to the other. As long as it's just the profit that he's choosing to share equally. That you can do. Yeah.
When he said, the Rav said before that if I tell him I work on Sunday, you work on Saturday, meaning it's yours on Saturday, it's mine on Sunday.
Yeah.
I can't tell the goy that we're going to split the profits.
Right. You can't tell the goy lechatchila when to split the profits because that means that it's just a joke.
Right. So why can I take 3.5 days, and he takes 3.5 days, split all the profits?
Because it's all bundled.
Oh, I know. I take it back. I don't know if you can split all the profits. I take it back. Yeah, you have to split it. He gets the 3.5, and you get the 3.5.
No, that's not good. So you're saying you have to split whatever days you work on. You get Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, again, if the guy can't be bothered figuring out,
he says fine.
Yeah.
You can't do it.
I don't think you can say 50-50 lechatchila. Saying even in that case, you have to be able to figure it out. Whether you do or not is another question. You have to be able to.
So every week you can set it, let's split 50-50, it's okay.
Yeah, no problem.
Was a suggestion proper when you can offer 2 options? Either you take a day, I take a day, or you split 50-50, it's up to you.
I was actually going to look that up. 1 second.
Put them in that scenario.
Look at it 1 second.
Oh, you split, I take everything.
Don't do an option for Shabbos. Boy, you can't do an option for Shabbos. You can't say, you decide. Because you work Shabbos or I'll work Shabbos.
Your question was, can you give them the option to split all the profits of the 7 days?
Actually, you don't need the parking, I call Shabbat, just go this one.
It would be interesting to see a real case contract. What that actually is doing.
Sure, it's a legal contract.
Yeah, legal contract.
Big businesses.
I'll try to see. Contemporary, something like somebody's using it right now.
Okay. I don't see it discussed. An answer, Reb Shmuel Lev, in answer to your question, I don't see it discussed. If you can say, I'll give you the option. But logically, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. As long as he has the option to exercise his right to get the Shabbos promise exclusively, you give him that option. But you also tell him, I don't care if you do 50-50, whatever you want. I don't see why not. You can't say it like in a joking manner, wink, wink, because then it's a joke. But if you mean it, and when he chooses to take your suggestion, I don't see why not.
Much easier just to split than to do the calculation.
Yes.
Isn't it also to have a business plan as a guy?
It used to be also when the Goyim used to swear by Avodah Zarah, because you're not allowed to swear. I know, but the Ramah says mutter. I don't know, because the Ramah's reasoning is that nowadays they don't swear by Akom Mamish. Maybe they swear by Shituf. They swear by Shituf, like they believe in Shituf, but Shituf is not also for a Goy, and it's certainly not also to cause him to swear by Shituf. I think that's what the Ramah holds. So what would the Ramah Chaber hold?
Why can't they touch my wine?
I don't know if it's not usher. I think the Rambam says it's not lifnei iver to make him do it. It's not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's not lifnei iver to make him swear b'shituf. I think that's what the Rambam says. I don't even remember where it is. No, not was. I'm talking about the goyim.
Even today, they are.
I don't know how they swear. Never heard them swear.
Well, so they swear.
Oh, are you saying they don't? They
So
don't.
you got-
Oh, right.
No,
That's
he's saying,
true.
well, that's not the problem. The problem is he's gonna swear and shit to him. He's just gonna say, I swear that I'm telling the truth on this God's name.
Yeah, but he might use the name JC. That's the issue.
No.
But he's saying they don't.
I mean, they do.
Oh,
It's
now
a-
they
it's
know.
a case by case basis. This guy's more religious, so he does. This
I don't
guy's
know.
religious, so he doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't see in the courts,
Not in the courts, not swear in the courts, swear by, they're speaking to themselves.
Right. The Dirshu actually brought it up.
No, I don't.
ולא מצאנו שיש בזה משום לפני עיוור, שאין הן מוזהר על השיתוף. It's not the same as saying that it's not avodah zarah. It's not לפני עיוור. I don't know. I didn't look into it. Not sure.
It's okay for them to believe in that.
That doesn't mean they're not avodah zarah as far as yain and nesach is concerned. It could be a different gather. Okay. I mean, yain nesach touched by a goy who's not an avodah zarah still also b'shia, just not also b'hano. You still can't drink it, just not also b'hano. It's tamyenim, exactly. It's not also b'hano. So, I mean, that's still nafkamina, but it's still, the maisi, you still can't drink it.
On a regular basis, we're allowed to think that a goy who's not religious is touch my wine, it's not yet. Am I allowed to give a non, am I allowed, well, you don't know, am I allowed to buy non-Jewish, non-kosher wine to give to a goy?
It's a machlokes. It depends if they're considered avodah zarah or not. It's a machlokes, and it's only, it's not lachatchila. Let's put it that way. Not lachatchila. It's a big shaila that people get into when it comes to people who want to do business with liquor, alcohol, some of which is non-Jewish wine. So to be able to do that, you're relying on the opinions that hold that they're not considered avodah zarah. So it's a big shaila. It's like, I mean, basically the psak is if a guy has no parnasa and that's his only way, whatever, then you could be megal, but it's not the best. Okay, so we are saying Ella, what do you do in that case? You have to allow him to take Shabbos completely on his own. The rest you divide equally. If, however, the goy agrees of his own accord, they agree to split equally. Instead of figuring it exactly day by day, which is a Schar Shabbos issue. Or he, on his own, gave you Sunday. You didn't ask him to. Ishmatir and some allowed. Because the goy, the Jew didn't ask for it, so he didn't show that he has any portion in the goy's working on Shabbos. So there's no Schar Shabbos. He's giving a gift. Some disagree and forbid about both of them. This is the Mechaber. For the reason that will be explained. The Mechaber holds that because the fact is that you worked on a day that he was supposed to work, and he worked on a day you were supposed to work, so we consider it like it was a shlichus situation, even though you didn't expressly say it. And that's the main halacha. In the case of great financial loss, you can rely on the material. That is the Ramah's psak. No, the Yeshua is the Machaber. Yeshua is the Machaber. Exactly. Exactly. In other words, whether or not, it means whether or not he expressly said, you worked on Shabbos, I worked on Sunday, let's split 50-50. That's for sure also because that's Chas Shabbos. Yeshus and B'Shneim, even if the Jew didn't say anything and the guy on his own gave it to you, some say it's still also because it's like Shlichus. The Matirin is actually the Rosh, which the Ramah brings down, and the Ramah says that b'makom hefsek gadol you could be soymech on him. So the Machmir is the Machaber, based on the Rambam, who says you can't do it at all. The Rebbe says that you can only rely on the Matirin b'makom hefsek gadol.
This is also no Matir.
Exactly, unless it's that case. Gimel, v'mitchilu b'shar shekibla asada hesni yisrael manachin shebem Shabbos liyem mutal klal al yisrael lavid b'sad. Rak al nachid levade. Now we come to the heter. It's interesting that he starts out with the Isser and then he comes up with the heter. If in the first place, when they received the field, he made an arrangement with a goy that Shabbos liyem mutal klal Yisrael should not be the Jews' problem at all. Lavid b'sad to work the field. Rak al nachid levade, just on the goy alone. And Sunday will only be on the Jew, mutter. Now, by the way, when I was learning this, it doesn't seem like he's saying that the whole business belongs to the Goy on Shabbos. The whole business belongs to the Jew on Shabbos. It sounds like he's saying, listen, you'll do the work on Shabbos, I'll do the work on Sunday, and that's it. That's not, even though it's mashma like that. Later on, the Alter Rebbe says, no, that's no good. What it means is, even though it doesn't say it clearly, what it means is that on Shabbos, it's actually belonging to the Goy. And on Sunday, it's actually belonging to the Jew. Otherwise, it's a Schar Shabbos issue.
So basically, the Jew can say, any days that I'm not allowed to work is going to belong to you. And against it, it's going to belong to me during the week. So let's say they have like, Chol Hamoed.
Yantiv, Chalamoyed, exactly.
So the whole week the guy is going to work and then the whole week.
Exactly.
So what happens if it's a whole week? It's 7 days. It will go in Shabbos.
For the next week. Yeah. They can make whatever arrangement they want.
So they have to make this night regarding Yom Tov and Chol Hamoed also in the beginning.
Exactly. Otherwise, they have to dissolve the shlichus. If they didn't realize, and then Yom Tov comes, once again, they have to dissolve the shlichus.
If they mention only Shabbos at the beginning, and then all they realize they forget to mention Chol Hamoed and Shabbos.
Same thing.
Break it up.
Yeah, break it up. Start again. So the Kibbutz Chisni Mashibashar Shekibul Lavavidus Asad Shlemut Alav Klam B'Shabbos, because he made an arrangement when he got the field that he's not responsible for Shabbos at all. And so Shabbos Ein Leisol Chelik B'Sod Klal. Oh, sorry, he does say it here clearly. So it turns out that the Yisrael has no portion of the field at all in Shabbos. It's only the Goy's problem for Shabbos. Then the Goy is not working for the Jew at all. And the corresponding day and the weekday is only the Jews.
Can we apply this halacha on Shemitah? Should the Goy going to work the whole year and I'm going to work another year after?
That is Heter Mechira. And there's two problems with it. First of all, is that in most cases it's not a real shutfus. It's really where it's the guy.
No. You have a shutfut in the beginning.
Okay. If he is a real partner, then I don't see why not.
It's not like you're taking a part just for Shemitah. You have already.
Yeah.
So I don't think God will like it because this is belong to the
So you
Shemitah.
I don't see why not. There is another issue with Heter Mechira is that you're not supposed to sell land to Goyim in Eretz Yisrael. So, but if you originally bought it as partners, let's say you bought it from a Goy as partners, just in theory, the Goy was selling it, a different Goy, and you and a second Goy bought it as partners. So there's no issue of selling to Goy because A Jew didn't sell to a guy.
And
And your partners, and you make an arrangement, Shemitah should be his. That's fine.
I think
Should be fine.
Shemitah is the 50 years.
No, 7th year.
7.
Ulefikach, therefore, mutter lo yachakach lo vayime b'cheshbon. He's allowed to come and make an arrangement with him. Lach shavim me'achol shavru levadoi keneged Shabbos v'shalom nachal levadoi, to calculate the weekday corresponding to Shabbos. V'lach lekaperes b'Shabbat, and divide the payers equally. He's not getting paid for Shabbos, but rather for the weekday. Okay, Daled says the same thing, except that it talks about a store instead of a field. And Vav says the same thing as Aleph and Beis, except it's talking about a store instead of a field. And Zion talks about a bathhouse and other things, but it's the same principle that is repeated again and again. And what it is that you have to make an arrangement that Shabbos belongs to the guy alone, and he gets all the profits, and Sunday belongs to a Jew, and he gets all the profits. Now, what very often happens in today's day and age is that the Jew owns the whole business, but he wants it to be open on Shabbos. So the mall, for example, has to be open on Shabbos. Has to, in quotation marks, because he didn't have to buy the business. But whatever. The Maisa, this is the situation. So what people do is they take the manager, the store manager, or some other, top guy in the store who's a worker, who's not Jewish, and they make this arrangement. They say Shabbos is going to belong to you. All the profits are going to belong to you, and that's it. And then comes the end of the year, they say, you know what? Instead of figuring the profits of Shabbos, I'm going to give you your salary. Your salary is going to be corresponding to all the profits of Shabbos.
Sounds like a trick.
That is definitely a trick.
It is chok.
And
why would you want? I'm saying why would you allow? Because this guy's not getting. You're not getting anything from him. Receiving all the money that you make from Shabbat. You're not.
Oh, you are, because you're getting all the profits, and you're just giving him his salary, which you would have gotten anyway, and you're saying that it's instead of the profits of Shabbos.
I'm not saying it shouldn't be allowed.
The end of the year, Rabbi.
Exactly. Now, when it comes to
Rabbi,
chametz, we let you do a sale, even though it seems like it's not real.
Rabbi.
So here you could say, listen, in fact, on paper it says that he owns all the income from Shabbos.
What if it's less?
What if his income?
Let's say I made $150,000 just from Shabbat, and I pay the guy $60,000 a year.
Okay, so
the day before the end of the year,
you have to tell him, listen, why you're not going to tell him I owe you 150. You just say, instead of the Shabbos profits, I'm just going to give you 60.
On the Shabbos profits, as he
You're not
sees all
saying
the
this
sales.
is actually done.
I'm not saying it is what actually, and I'm saying it's what some people do. It's what some people do.
People like the conservative movement?
No. This started in Europe. This started in Europe in places where there was a chalishus in actual Shmir Shabbos. There were places even in Europe that there was a chalishus in Shmir Shabbos. Unfortunately, there were Jewish people who were starting to be Machal Shabbos with the whole Enlightenment movement and so on and so forth. And there were Rabbanim that felt that in order to save Shabbos as much as possible, they should present people with the option of having their workers become their partners and paying them their salary instead of the income. And at least that's what's called a Hatzalah Purta, a small salvation, so that they shouldn't be transgressing in a serious manner. And then when they came over to America, the next stage of it was that some people continued to allow it in America. And some people, on the contrary, felt it's a terrible thing and just a joke and it's not real. And you can see it's not real because you're not paying him any of the income. You're just giving him his salary, which would have gotten anyway. So Lemaisa, I don't give that heter. But there are Rabbanim that give that heter. There are actual real Rabbanim from Orthodox Rabbanim who give such a heter. So I do want to mention it. So you shouldn't, if you hear it, it shouldn't be like surprise to you, like you never heard of such a thing. There is such a thing. And maybe even in a case where the guy would otherwise not keep Shabbos, you have to remember there are Jews today who are unfortunately in this situation. There are people who are maybe developing Balei Tshuva. They're not ready to keep Shabbos properly. So either if you tell them there's no way for their business to be open, they may stay open and keep it open themselves, working on Shabbos.
There is a kosher way.
The kosher way is to have an actual partner. He doesn't have a partner, and he's not willing to sell a seventh of his business. I'm saying there is a way to do it. The way to do it is to have an actual partner who actually gets the profits. Okay, he's not ready to do that. He hasn't developed to the extent that he's willing to rearrange his whole business for this. So there is place to say.
Who brings that opinion?
The Achronim.
What we've been learning? Oh, nothing from what we've learned.
No, we haven't learned any of that. Any of that. That's all in later generations where people applied it to these situations.
What's the other arrangement that's usually done?
And the proper arrangement is a real partnership where the guy actually gets the profits from Shabbos. That's fine.
And is it possible
Like
to
your business, whatever.
I'm sorry? He buys into the business. Either he's an actual 50-50 partner, or he's at least a 1/7 partner. Anything less than a 1/7 partner is going to be a joke. But if he's an actual 1/7 partner or more, and the profits of Shabbos are his share, then it's okay.
Can they go with the money that you earn on Shabbat and pay the salary for the workers?
But for the workers of Shabbos, no, not the workers during the week, not kesher.
Do you know of any actual situation like that? You don't have to mention names.
No, but I know Rabbanim who give this heter. I know Rabbanim who give this heter.
Wait, let me go.
There's
No, it is practice.
Yeshkin is still here. Yeshkin is still here.
You're driving, Rabbi? You praying?
I'm praying.
Well, one second. Let's count it. You pay? You pray? No. You?
That's already, so.
You?
There's no way I would help you. I already downed it. You have 10.
We have 10. All right, my friends in wherever you are, in Los Angeles and Yerushalayim, and I'm not sure where you are, Yaakov. You've been very quiet tonight, but I hope you got it. So we are planning to move on in next Siman. Next Monday, we're moving on to Reish Nun Days. I know there's a lot that we didn't cover in this thing, but there's so many details that it would take us a long time. Exactly. We're learning the main things, and we're moving on. Reish Nun Days is a lot of details. 2, 3, 4, whatever. Okay, all the best. Have a good night.